The Women's Equality Day celebration is taking place on Saturday, August 21st. And here to tell us about the event and everything that went into planning it are Sylvia, Coffey, and Mary Ann Burch from the Women's Suffrage Centennial Chorus. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, before we get into Saturday's big event, it's a full day of activities. So before we get into all of that and what that schedule looks like, let's remind our viewers what Women's Equality Day is and how important it is, especially considering we've passed the centennial mark since the 19th Amendment was ratified.
Women's Equality Day comes from acknowledging August 26th, 1920, the 19th Amendment became law. And that was the day it became law. And so that's the date that Women's Equality Day is held. We're doing it the Saturday before because it's a Saturday and more people can come.
Let's talk about the details of the celebration. Of course, I mentioned it takes place on Saturday, August 21st, but tell our viewers what they can expect that day. Let's give a rundown of what all's going on.
Start from the very beginning, that would be Mary Ann.
The very first thing to start that morning is a guided tour of the cemetery. We have followed the lead of Dr. Randolph Hollingsworth, who did her thesis at UK on women's suffragists in Kentucky. And she did the research and helped us identify 25 people buried in the Frankfort Cemetery who were active in the suffrage movement, trying to get women the right to vote. So we've identified those 25. We have documentation to back those up. We found the 25 graves in the cemetery, and as of Monday, we installed the markers. The bronze medallion are stone or adhered to stones, and those are buried in the ground next to the tombstones. Many of these tombstones are really old, so we didn't want to adhere anything to them to take the chance of harming the stone themselves. We were able to get permission from a number of the families, the descendants of those people, but we weren't able to get a hold of all of them. So we didn't want to do anything to the tombstone without written permission, and then we came up with the idea that it'd be better not to adhere anything to it anyway. So those medallions are already in place, and on Saturday the 21st, people can gather at the cemetery at the office, and we will have golf carts to take people in through the cemetery who don't want to walk. People can drive their cars. There will be a shuttle on the trolley. John Unger is going to pick up people at the old Capitol and bring them up to the cemetery and drop them off, and then come back and get them. So there's some transportation from downtown to the cemetery and back. And we're lucky enough to have Russ Hatter as a docent, Patty Peebler will be a docent, and I'll be a docent. So we'll have 3 different groups of people that will hear the history of a segment of these 25, and we'll touch on all of them. And we have speakers, so you'll be able to hear us. We have portable hotspots. So on the brochure that we have, that tourism did a fabulous job on,
Beautiful.
There is a QR code on the back, so people can upload information, more details about the 25 individuals. And I said individuals because we have 2 men. Yeah, when we were looking, thought we were only going to have ladies, but we have William Averill, who he and his wife and his daughters started the ERA in Frankfort, had the meetings in their home. So he was very instrumental in suffrage in Franklin County. And then Governor Edward Morrow signed the declaration, making it the Kentucky being the 24th state to ratify the 19th Amendment. So he gets to be part of the celebration as well.
At 11, people will gather. Well, we want them to gather before 11, but at 11, a march will start from the Paul Sawyer Public Library down Wapping, then down to Wilkinson, and back up to Broadway on the old Capitol side, and until we get to the old Capitol, where there will be some speeches.
Oh, that's terrific. Right on the old Capitol lawn.
And the chorus will sing 2 songs. You don't want to miss that.
And we
Definitely.
encourage everybody that comes to march in that to wear white. We'll have sashes for sale if they would like to do that, or hats. So dress the part if you can. But if you don't have a costume, still come. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
And we would love to have grandmothers, daughters, and granddaughters.
Yes.
But men are welcome as well.
Oh,
If anybody's
definitely.
included.
That's terrific. Yeah, very inclusive event. I love that. And so downtown Frankfort businesses are also there are special meals and sort of deals, right, going on throughout the day. And then there's also the history walk.
Yes, I can tell you about the history walk. This is a timeline, and it'll be 10 display boards. Starting, the first will be at the Capital City Museum, and then it'll go to the History Center, and anyway, it'll go on down Broadway. And so it will be 10 stops. You have a nice walk, enjoy the walk. And it's a timeline. So if you start with 1, by the time you get to 10, you have the history. You
Wow.
now have a good understanding of women's suffrage history.
And it's self-led, so you can do it anytime, all day long. It doesn't have to be at a certain time.
Oh, that's fantastic. And speaking of history, tell me about the Suffragist Showcase in film at the library. It'll feature the showcase will feature African American suffragists from 1 to 3 p.m. and a 50-minute documentary film beginning at 3, right?
And I'll tell you about that, because we all have our little stations. That's going to be my station.
Yeah.
The African American women are sort of under recognized in this history. So we wanted to showcase and focus on them. We have the River Room, which is beautiful. And so we will have just like pictures or displays across the wall. And people just come in, read them, find out what these women did, and see who they are. And then at 3 o'clock, we'll have a film. Now, the film will be on the life of Harriet Tubman. And everybody's going to say, but she worked for the Underground Railroad. Well, she did that. She was also a spy for the Civil War, during the Civil War. She also led a campaign and during the Civil War, and led some troops, and she was a suffragist. After, in her older years, she decided, women need the right to vote, and I'm going to put my time into it. And so, yes, we're going to learn something about her.
We plan to have some things outside and some things inside, knowing it was going to be the middle of August and it would be hot. With COVID, we'll have to play it by ear how we want to be safe. So we would encourage people to wear masks and be as cautious as we can. But Liberty Hall is having an open house with cookies and punch, and there's no charge to it.
It's a free tour.
Free tour. The only thing that I know of that has a fee is at the History Center. They're going to give a program called Kentucky Women Behaving Badly. And I think you have to, there's not a fee to see this tour, but you have to pay an admission if you're not already a member of the History Center. But we tried to make it free, family friendly, and safe. In a lot of different things, the downtown merchants are coming up with special drinks, like suffragist sangria was one suggested. So they want to keep people downtown and enjoy the walk and different events that are during the day. The cemetery is open from 7:30 in the morning until dusk. So if you miss the docent tour, you can come and self-guided tour. There'll be brochures at the office so people can go on their own anytime. And those brochures will be up through the end of September. So if you can't make it on this particular date, you can still do it other times too.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, let's remind folks how they can get involved in the Women's Suffrage Centennial Chorus.
They can contact me, And I will be glad to give them some information and welcome them. Like we said, we make joyful noise, and surprisingly, it comes out sounding really good. And we will have some merchandise that day, because we have a CD of our songs, and we have sashes, because it's fun to add the sash and marches the ladies did in the past. And so buttons, lots of buttons with quotes and things.
And I'm sure people can get more information at the actual celebration on the old Capitol lawn as well, right? Okay.
And one of the things the city asks is that we encourage people to register for these events. So they'll have a head count estimate for public safety.
Okay.
So on the city's website, there are RSVPs. So you just click on there and register. And that gives them, for the cemetery walk, we're limiting that to 60. So we'll have 3 groups of 20. So we encourage people to go ahead. And then if they want to ride on the trolley, we can only have 34, I think, on the trolley. So that gives people a head count, and the city's been absolutely fabulous to work with. This Blair Hecker has been wonderful.
That's terrific. It sounds like it's a full day of activities in downtown Frankfort. Really exciting to celebrate Women's Equality Day on August 21st. But Sylvia and Marianne, thank you so much for joining us and providing our viewers with all this information.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.